Hello, hello. Welcome back to another video. Now today we're going to be adding a custom 3D carving of our logo to an existing door that has already been assembled and prepped for installation. So come with me and we'll walk through the process of how I approach this on the Maverick 4x8 CNC system. Now this door that we're adding a 3D carving to is going to be the same door that's going to be replacing our front entry door at Legacy's facility. This door was used as a sample during the door making workshop last month, and during the installation process before we finished the door, we wanted to see what it looked like. And we decided that we wanted to add our custom carved logo to both sides of the door, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Now throughout this video, I'll share some of the decisions that I made and point out some tips that I used that you can do on your CNC. A quick side tangent. That dolly that I used to load the door onto the CNC machine, I've also used in other videos. And it makes it really easy to load and offload sheets with one person, regardless of the sheet thickness or size or weight. A lot of people have been asking about it, so I wanted to share the resource on where you can go get one yourself. And that is at westoakstudios.com. Now let's get back to that door. So the first thing is we need to make sure the door was square and true to the machine, and I did this with the laser edge finder running it along the edge. Once the door was lined up, we held it down using Legacy's Low Pro clamps. Now these are traditionally used on T-slot tables, but here I removed the inserts and simply screwed them down to the spoil board surface to give me the backers on one side and the clamps on the other. One thing I was concerned about is that the center panel would move or shift slightly during the carving sequence because it's simply floating as a raised panel between those stiles and rails. So what I did, I ran a thin line of CA glue within the inside seam where the top and bottom of the panel meets the rails, so the panel couldn't move, at the same time allowing the panel to still expand and contract. Now on the back side of this panel that we're adding this carving, there's already these V-grooves that run down the length of the panel. So what I needed to do is I needed to lower all of the cutting tool paths to be below those V-grooves. Those grooves were cut 3/16 of an inch deep, and so I pocketed out an area using the 1 1/4 surfacing cutter from Magnate just below that, about 0.23 inches. That way I don't have any accidental V-grooves on the top of the raised lettering. Here's something you can experiment with when clearing out large areas like this. So what would be the recommended step over of how much material you would remove per pass from side to side? Here, I used 40% of the diameter of the cutter. So that came out to a 1/2 inch step over based on the size of the tool I was using. And this seems to be a really good sweet spot. You can go anywhere from 40 to even 75% of the diameter of the cutter as your step over, but the larger your step over gets, the more deflection and tool marks are going to show up in the surface of the wood. 40% kind of hits that sweet spot where it's still removing a large chunk of material so that the surfacing can be done quickly, but minimizes the deflection of the tools so you still have a decent finish with minimum tool marks. If you wanted to get even better finishes, go down to a smaller step over between 10 and 20%. You'll have to experiment with some of these parameters because there's a lot of variables including your cutter diameter size, how hard your material is, and many others. Another thing to keep in mind that you need to control is your pass depth. Here I'm cutting 0.23 inches deep in alder, so I'm comfortable doing this in a single pass with this size of cutter. If you had a smaller spindle or perhaps a larger tool, you might want to break that up based on the load that's being placed onto your machine and your tooling. Once the area is surfaced, now we can proceed to the finer details of the custom logo. So this is going to be raised text. I found as a good practice is if you're going to be adding chamfers to the edges of your raised lettering is to add the chamfers first while the material is stable. Whereas if you pocket all the area first and then add the chamfering later, you have these tall pillars of wood that can accidentally tear out and break away. Here I'm using a 90-degree V-cutter to give me these details. I also made it so that the tip of the cutter isn't following along the line itself for each letter. It's actually slightly off the line. That way, the tip of the cutter, which is technically dragging, isn't giving me a rough edge when we pocket the rest of the material away. So if you can extend your V-cutter out past the edge, you're going to get a better edge quality for your chamfers. With the majority of the detail now done, all you have to do is clear out all the material as a pocket depth. Now I like to clear it out to where the cutter goes around the perimeter of each letter first, again focusing on minimizing my tear out. Whereas if I clear a majority of the pocket first with a larger cutter and then come back and clean up the edges with another tool, I have exposed edges which have a risk of tearing out. This also does a 3D carving toolpath around the border to give us this kind of dished look. And the recommended step over for tapered ball cutters is between 8 and 10%. Here I used 8%. The last cutter is a 1/4 inch down spiral, and it removes a majority of the material that goes around the lettering and logo. With this tool, I wanted to focus on surface quality. So what I did is I did a roughing pass to remove a bulk of the material, and then I came back and made sure my last pass is less than 0.02 inches. So 10 to 20 thousandths of an inch as the final cut. This puts a minimum load on the cutter, which means you have less deflection and less tool marks. You have a better finish quality. The step over for this 1/4 inch cutter is the exact same percentage that I used with the surfacing cutter, and that is 40%. That means this 1/4 inch is stepping over 0.1 inches per pass from side to side. This door is now ready for some light sanding, and it can be finished and installed. And this is customized to us, so it holds a lot of value. Now, what ideas do you have in which you would be able to increase the value of either a woodworking project of your own or perhaps business opportunities in where you can get existing parts or projects pre-made and customize it to add value? Please share those ideas and suggestions right down below, and I think we'll be surprised what we come up with. Now, if you're interested in learning more about a legacy CNC system, jump on over to our website at legacywoodworking.com. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.